That's true.
Really? How,
Live. Good, guys.
how
Hi.
did you get to that realization?
And
You were saying something.
introduce us, honey.
All right, guys, it's Roger Hayer. Or, sorry, it's Roger, Rosie, and Brittany.
Hair. Just kidding.
We adopted you.
She's our kid.
Yeah.
Man, you were very young when you had me.
Oh my gosh.
You guys want to know who's our first viewer right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, viewer, comment.
Comment.
Comment. We
Comment with your
need-
name as you come in.
If you leave, I'm. That tells me you don't like me. Oh gosh, look, they're not going to say anything. I'm kidding. All right, let's get started, guys.
Secretly watching. So guys, how's it going? How's everybody?
Well, Bree just came back from a vacation.
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Happy dance.
Happy dance.
Um, how is it for me? I'm very, very excited. I had experienced a lot of things in 2 days.
Wow.
A lot of emotions.
Oh, yeah. I had a shitty narrator.
Oh, really?
What?
You know the story you tell yourself?
A narrator. Yeah, narrator. Sorry.
How do you say it? Narrator or narrator?
Well, I don't know. I say it narrator.
Narrator. Oh, God.
Whatever. You speak four languages. I only speak one. It's fine.
I wish that everybody can think like you.
Yeah.
Narrator.
Well, now you have me questioning how to say narrator.
Narrator.
There.
Are we
Narrator.
talking about feeling restricted?
Oh, is that the topic today?
No, that's not the topic. I was actually going back through some of the stuff that we talked about for the past several months, and we've covered a lot of ground. So I thought today what we could do is we could have a conversation more like a mid-year. What did we learn? How are we experiencing ourselves, each other, the market, people we work with? And because ultimately, but before we get into that, let's talk about Coffee Social.
Okay.
Yeah. So Coffee Social, guys, this Friday, and it's going to be from 9:30 to 11. These past few weeks, we've touched on some incredible topics. And so, Rosie, Bree, we didn't have you this week. That was and people asked, they were like, "Where's Bree? Where's Bree?"
Missed you.
Yeah, yeah. So it was guys, Easy Tiger at the link. Come join us. The conversation's great. We talk about how to lead ourselves, our businesses, and how to dominate in whatever field of work you're in, and however these principles and ideas apply to you. And I think these are like more universal ideas. And Rosie gets to touch on influence and ethical persuasion, and so you can use that at work. You can use that
At
when
home.
using real estate at home with your family. Yeah, at home, right? That's probably the most applicable, or it actually helps you get your reps in.
We're about to actually start workshops where I'm going to start sharing very implementable strategies on how to create influence in a conversation, how to create persuasion, and something I have learned in 15 years of my real estate career. I want to sum it up and share it with my people who are working so hard with us and collaborating with us, showing up on coffee socials, and also our network of friends that we work with all the time. I feel like it's just a tipping point sometimes in your life where you just go from, rather than just saying, "Hey, look, you know what? I'm in real estate. You need to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Let me know." I don't want to say that anymore.
Mhm.
Actually, I don't. I want to share something with you that you can actually use in your home that I've learned in my career. And if you fall in love with me along the way, maybe we'll do something together. That's honestly, you know what? I don't know. This live is going to be everywhere, but you heard it now.
Yeah.
So come, spend time with me, and let's have a conversation together. If you end up liking us, maybe we'll work
And
together.
I think what Rosie's also saying is that it's relationship that she's really interested in, because whether or not somebody performs a certain way, are we getting to experience them? Are we getting to deepen that bond? And life's about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You know, so that's really cool. And so I think this week at Coffee Social, people are going to walk away with something that's never been discussed before, and it's a business concept that, I mean, you really had to like read in between the lines. And the curriculum that, I mean, you can go through a dozen business books and it's probably not anything that'll glare at you. And so it's kind of hidden. And so that's really the benefit of joining Coffee Social this week. We're going to be talking about something that I haven't heard been discussed anywhere else, but it's also one of the things that'll liberate and really allow for your creativity to flow. And so if you're at that point where you're like, man, I really could use like a nice, like, I don't know, like it would be caffeine for the spirit, like I want to feel supercharged. This Coffee Social is that Coffee Social. I know that's a big claim to make, and I feel that strongly about it. I really do.
You just reminded me of, I don't know if you ever read these books, but back in the 90s, they were big. Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul. Remember those?
Ooh, you gave me chills.
Those books were so good. That's what it
Uh,
reminded me
what was his name? It was Jack.
of. Yeah, who wrote them?
Can something
Jack something. Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Jack Canfield.
Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield. Yeah.
Is that who wrote those
How
books?
do I know that? I don't even read the book. Ouch, ouch.
I honestly have never read Chicken Soup for the Soul, but I've heard so many great things. And the people whose books I do read often mention him. Bree has such a beautiful way of like dropping little very,
And
very
drop little chicken noodle soups.
little book recommendations on me.
I love it.
Hey, my cousin's on here.
Hi,
Hey,
cousin.
Yes, how are you, sis? Those
and
books are great. Yeah.
yeah, and so she's also written a book and launching or has launched her book on Amazon. So that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really cool. And inspiring and motivating people, that's what we need in our lives. So Coffee Social, and now I guess we could jump right into the show.
Yep. Let's go.
All right. So Rosie, you were talking about something really interesting. I think it's taboo for anybody to come out and say they've had a rough day or they had some obstacles. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. How do we get over our obstacles? And because we talked about this for the last several weeks, we talked about how do we get through entropy and back into creativity. And so, like, we can not go there, but if y'all would like to.
What are you asking me to share?
I mean,
What you said right before.
hey, so what do y'all think about this idea? It's not necessarily just an arguing. I think I probably miswrote that, but ignition versus cooling phase. So this was actually Jefferson Fisher, and he was talking about there being two phases to any argument. There's the ignition phase, and then there's a cooling phase. This is the ignition phases where we really let someone have it, and the cooling phases where we're like, okay.
You know what I need? I don't need no fuel during the ignition phase. Just leave me alone during that time. Let me just cool off and then we'll engage. So one of the things that I'm really enjoying knowing, you know what? I don't know. I think today's call is going to be more laid back, more easy, and we can just say what we have experienced in a week. This past week, I have realized that I go into the intense creative modes. Then I start going into these blank modes where I'm like, like I have been, you're on the creative hunch and you're just creating, 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 and you're high on this dopamine because you're doing things that are making you feel more motivated to do more and more. And after that, I don't know, you call it dopamine crash or whatever. I don't know what it is, but I go into this blank state where it's almost like questioning everything again. Did I create it right? Should I have even done that? Is this like going forward or backward? Is it coherent with my thinking? Right. So it's almost like unnecessary drama that brain creates. And I have been telling Roger because one thing that I really enjoyed last week is that creating a space for each other where we can just say, you know what, I really don't know how to handle this right. And I'm having all the human feelings that any human would have. And they're not the nice things to feel, but I'm feeling all of them right now. Because I don't know if I anymore trust people who only have very canned, uh, non-human responses, positive all the time.
Yeah.
Because how is it that someone can be positive all the time? The only one way that somebody can be positive is because they're only opening their mouth when they're positive, and when they're negative, they just keep their mouth shut. And which is a great way not to spread the negativity. So one of the things that I have really enjoyed a couple of times this past week is that when I'm not like really having the moment, just to be left alone and just being with myself and letting that thought and that um, scenario just run through the mind and just let it run, right? Rather than tackling it or making it something it's not. Because,
Like
by,
doing nothing about it. That's what it sounds like.
huh?
Doing nothing about it. Like doing nothing about it.
Do nothing about it. Because how can I create a permanent solution for a temporary problem?
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with someone today, and our business is just conversations. Higher the quality of conversation we have, higher the quality of business we have. That's just generally it. And so I was just hearing them out, and man, they were saying so much when they were telling me what they were going through.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes we do, it's one of those things that people do as a habit in work, but nobody really talks much about it. And people have every reason to ask questions like this because they're afraid they're walking on eggshells, they don't want to do something wrong. And I guess it's so easy to really kickstart a new way of being with people where we create this space where they don't feel judged for a minute, right? For a minute, they can just, like, I don't care. Like today's conversation was, I told the person, I said, look, I really don't know if we're going to work together or not. But one thing I want to know is that if we're going to spend these non refundable minutes together, I want you to really speak up your mind and just open up and say everything that's on your mind and not feel judged. Okay. And I hope I can do the same when it's my turn to share what needs to be heard here. And we had the highest quality conversation.
I want to know who are the two Rosies. Like, there's a Rosie I know, and then there's a Rosie that's in the background. I may have never met her before, or it's been a long time since you've kept her kind of behind locked doors. You're like, hey, I'll let you know when I need you, but for right now, I got it. So there's a Rosie running the show, and then there's a Rosie behind the scenes, and locked away perhaps. But
You promise both of you would tell me the same thing about you?
I'll definitely share with you.
Do you want to start first?
Bree, she's like,
She's like, what is this? um, I don't know the Rosie that I am. I think the Rosie that I show up as is the person um, who is like more for others, like more for other people. Like I enjoy people energize me. Doing something with people energizes me. And I lose time and space and effort when I'm around people doing something together. And I think you guys experience me, so you guys can probably tell it more. I don't sit there thinking what I'm being like. I'm little delusional when I'm around people. I'm kind of absorbed in the moment and kind of experiencing life with them. So I don't have a very solo experience when I'm with people.
Yeah.
When I'm by myself, all I always end up realizing is how much more I am able to give. I just realize like how much more I have within me to give. This is a very, and it sounds so cliche, give, give, give. I
Let me
don't,
ask you this. Are there parts of you that you still want to incorporate in the person who you are right now? Like, are there elements of
yeah,
who you once were that you want to incorporate in who you are today that you still have, like you're still looking for a way to kind of weave that in?
I would say no. I don't know if I want to weave that in. I think what I want to do is I want to abandon more of what I have been because I was having this conversation with you yesterday. So if I'm having a two-way conversation, I want to abandon the role I'm playing. I want to abandon the invisible responsibility or performance we carry with ourselves. It's so much freeing, like it's almost a moment of like, you know what, it's a carefreeness, and it's beautiful how amazing it is for the person on the other side to experience us that way.
Well, there
Um,
must have been a time in your life where you felt that way before. I mean, are you
no,
recalling?
no, I don't know feeling that way before. I feel like it was like on and off switch, on and off switch. Now it's more like I'm on all the time, but
Yeah,
it's also like how much can I be on with? I don't know. It's very philosophical and very vague what I'm saying,
yeah,
but it's almost like okay, knowing that I cannot control everything, just knowing that everything is out of my control, nothing is in my control, just becoming consciously aware of it and operating from that place. And I actually saw myself last week move into state.
yeah.
So this is like very ridiculous example I'm going to give you, but I was sharing it with one of my team members, and I was like, okay, you know what? I just have to say this out loud because I just had this self-realization. So imagine this, okay? Imagine this is planet Earth, okay? And planet Earth is rotating around its orbit like that, right? And it's going however it's moving in the solar system, right?
Mhm.
And can we agree planet Earth also has moon here, right? Gravitational force. And we don't know how many other invisible forces are keeping things together in a solar system, right? Now we also know in solar system there are meteoroids, there are other events happening all the time, but Earth just keeps moving like this, right? In its orbit. Now imagine every time some nuance happens in the solar system, Earth says, let me stop orbiting. Let me just go handle that real quick and I'll come back and rotate here.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if Moon is depending on Earth to stay in this spot, now Moon is all shaken up and like, hey, what the hell? What are you doing? Right? So I just like looked at nature and I was like, man, how unapologetically does nature keeps vibing in its orbit? Like sun does what just sun does, right? A tree does what just a tree does. Flower does just what it flower does. Like it's like a abandon of everything but of their being, right? A flower doesn't say, oh, let me just uh, show less colors here because I'm in Rosie's garden, right? The rose is going to be fully blooming as a rose, doesn't matter where it goes, right? And I feel like I had not done that. I had often gotten out of my orbit to go take care of some business where I didn't need to. I just needed to just stay in my little thing, right? And that's what I'm calling abandon. Abandon of unnecessary nuances happening around us and attending to them all the time, but just much rather. It's very freeing. Try that sometimes.
I like it.
I might have to find a way to do that.
It sounds to me like,
Your turn, Bree.
well, I'm relating to what you're saying because it's like when we're born and when we're little, right? We can live with abandon, right? We are what we are, okay? And then society, our parents, our friends, whatever, they have influence over what we're doing. And so sometimes we have to feel like we are performing on and off. Like you are one way maybe with someone and you're another way with someone else and you're another way with your friends, right? And you're different because we're multifaceted. That's okay, right? But sometimes you feel like you are a little bit different than maybe who you really are. What you're saying is, I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be Rosie. Live with abandon. Live without abandon.
It's like with the sense of abandoning all
Yeah,
the.
yeah, abandoning the expectation, abandoning like what someone might think you should be, and just be
Yeah.
really true to yourself. And then they love you, great. They hate you, great. Whatever, doesn't matter, right? You know that you are in and present in that moment, and being 100% authentically yourself, and it is what it is.
Yeah. And you know what? I actually was studying this past week. They said even being authentic is wearing a mask because we're rewarded for it.
Mm.
So, like, authentic carries a lot of weight with it sometimes. But what if I don't want to be happy right now?
Yeah, sometimes we're not always happy.
Yeah, like, hey,
I really hate when people are like, "Hi, how are you?" Good. How are like? Who cares? I don't want to say hi. How are you? I just want to say, hey, what you need?
No, so Deep asked me, Deep asked me, he goes, "How are you, Dad?" I said, "How are you? Like, how am I? Like, how am I occurring? Or I don't know what I just. It's like, dude,
how are you orbiting right now?
yeah, how are you orbiting?
Wait, you know what's really weird though? One time this lady called me. This was a few months ago. And she said, "How are you?" And I said, "Good, how are you?" She said, "I'm actually really bad." And I was like, "Okay." This lady called me, like,
Yeah.
what? And it got really weird. We had to hang up. She was trying to sell me something weird. Anyways, but I was like, "Oh, you threw me for a loop by saying something that wasn't the regular thing." And then I was a little bit intrigued, like, "Oh, what's going on?" Then it got too much. Still, I was a little intrigued at the beginning, like, "Oh, someone said something other than good. What's going
Oh
on?"
yeah. Oh, I will give you one more literally story. And before Roger, we haven't really discovered you, Brie, yet. So
I really want to know about Bree.
So I was having a conversation. I promise I'll get back to you. You triggered me something. I was having a conversation with a lady last week who was wanting to sign me up for some kind of thing. But you know what? Like, don't have a connecting conversation and then later tell me to sell something. Just be upfront and say, hey, my call is that I'm going to
That's
sign
what
you
it
up.
was.
Right. So I was having a very intriguing conversation with her, and my only goal was that if I can just get her to open up about what she really, really feels about her job. That was my only goal. I did not have any goal. And she started telling me how much she hates everyone. And and I was like, okay. I was like, then what will make you write good about me? Like, I what why would you see me any differently than anybody else? And she was giving me all the good things and stuff like that. And then at the end she offered me the money thing, right? And I cannot tell you how ugly I felt at the end. I was like, you just had this open conversation with me and now you want to sell. Why don't you just tell me that you're calling me for selling, and then I can actually really decide if this is the route I want to go, right? I think that's something we owe to other people.
Yeah.
Just be true with your intent up front.
Yeah.
And give other person the autonomy to see if they want to stay in the conversation with us. So, Brie, what is the Brie behind the scenes and on the scenes?
Are there elements of you that you would want to incorporate into who you are right now?
I'm sure. I don't know. I feel like that's a really hard question because I resonated. Oh, y'all are frozen.
Huh?
That was weird.
That was cool.
I was like, oh no. I resonated with what Ro was saying, and I feel like I go in like cycles where I can live like that, and then maybe something pushes me back out of, maybe, what's it called? The word entropy.
Entropy.
Orbiting.
Entropy.
I
Entropy.
I have an entropy where I go back, right? And I go back to the different kinds of breeze, right? Like there's a work one, there's a mom one, there's a friend one. And it's like, that's exhausting
Yeah.
sometimes, you know? But, and then on the flip side, I'm like, well, we are multifaceted and we are different in different scenarios, but are we really? Or is that something that we tell ourselves? I don't know.
Interesting. So you're playing it from the key of like relationships. And
Yeah.
you're showing up in those relationships.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like sometimes back in the day when I would go maybe have to show many homes with someone, I would feel maybe tired at the end, right? If we're seeing 10, 12 homes, and then I'm like, oh, I'm so tired because like I think I was putting on a front, right? Like
Mm.
of da 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 da. Da. But now when I go show homes, I'm like, I could do 20. And then I get home and I'm like, mm, ready to go more. Da 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 da.
That is what I'm talking about because it's a complete abandon of how you're being seen. Are you liked or not?
Yeah.
Approval. There's an invisible approval that sometimes we are thinking. And but there comes a point where like you're abandoning it. I was like, look, I can't really control this.
Yeah.
Right. And the one thing I can owe you is just a true, clean, transparent presence of me. So
Yep.
you can just at least be trusting and feel safe with me right now.
Yep.
Right. Like there's no agenda.
Is that what is that what you did? I mean, that's pretty liberating.
Brie, that's what you did? Kind of, you're like, hey,
Yeah, I feel like, hey, this is me. This is who I am. And if you like me, great. And if you don't, keep it moving. That's fine.
Yeah.
keep it moving.
Yeah.
And it takes it's very funny you say that. Before becoming that, it's almost like we gotta be okay with that with us and also be okay with other people the way they are.
But
Yeah.
also, that person that's saying keep it moving is somebody who accepted something about themselves at a really deep level and finds acceptance in others too, right? Like the guards are down now. And so if that person is saying keep it moving, then they're probably coming from a really grounded and accepting place too, is what I mean, the experience that I would have, you know.
Rosie, I liked what you said where you accept the other person.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are. Like, you don't have to be in a box of this is how you should act, right? You are you. I accept you. I love you for who you are, and I love me for who I am. And we have a relationship. And if we don't, then that's okay too. But
Yeah.
I'm willing to try if you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a very common thing. Hey, accept people for who they are, but it takes a very conscious awareness to really understand. Okay, what is something they're experiencing right now? Like I was just reading a book last week on human behavior, and they were talking about. They said people are not being mean to us; they're being mean to their parent, to their sibling, to their friend who did them wrong growing up, and they're just trying to get back at the person as an adult whom they couldn't get back as a child.
Mm, mhm.
That
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let anybody walk over me like that again. They're
Yeah.
trying to. It's a delayed response.
You know, I think
Yes,
what
actually,
we're talking about is perhaps,
reaction, not a response. Sorry, Roger.
well, I mean, do you think there's an underlying tone of as much as we say we don't need to, but like, understanding that we're tribal people and getting and being in tribe and getting along with others is important. Um, have we learned to kind of like maybe it makes me think of like an equalizer board or a soundboard where you're like pulling these different levers, you know? And when I start to think of that, like, I mean, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I mean,
Why don't you tell us who are you on the screen and off screen? Because I want to know. Bree, you want to know?
Mhm.
yeah, that's really interesting because what's happened, and this is kind of realization that came to me this weekend was I grew up as a like kind of a mischievous person and getting into a little bit of trouble. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to completely disconnect myself from that person because all I ever got was like heartaches and headaches from from being that person, you know?
Mhm.
And I had to really it's kind of like you drop someone off on a road trip in the middle of an empty field and you kept driving, you know? And I feel like I took that mischievous person and I told him, I said, hey, come on, let's go on vacation. Let's go on a road trip. And with that thought in mind that I'm going to drop him off in the middle of nowhere. And I tried disconnecting from that part of myself by like reading a lot of books and working really hard and like I wanted to create a real big gap in between me and who that person was
Mhm.
to the point to where I didn't want to recognize him anymore. I didn't want to when I looked into the mirror, I didn't want to see him anymore, you know? Cuz he created so much like so many obstacles and grief, you know? Like and I think I was sitting at the coffee shop 2 days ago with Rosie, and the night before I was just like really angry, and that's not like me. I was like, why am I angry? And in the morning, she's got a habit of like pulling things out of me. I don't know how she does it. I feel like she's just like this all the time, you know. And so I was like, where is this coming from? And now it's like reintegrating that mischievous Roger and being accepting of those parts because they weren't all bad. They were the parts that some of my family and friends had fallen in love with, you know? And that was a kind soul, even regardless of the mischievous portions and all that stuff. There was a lot of creativity there. There was a lot of ambition, and so it's about reincorporating that now, and I'm kind of excited.
I think that's the mistake that got you to make that video that you made today.
Yeah. All I mean, there's going to be so many.
You know, the person who's living with you, they kind of see that.
Uh,
You
thank
can't really bullshit the
I
person.
tried throwing a cloak over it and hiding it, but
The Harry Potter invisible cloak.
yeah. Yeah, that's another book I got to read. I hadn't read that one. Read all the serious ones, you know. So,
That's
but
nice. Good job. I'm impressed on how you really spoke exactly how it is.
uh,
Brie, was it refreshing to hear that from Roger?
Was it refreshing?
I'm telling you, like people need to hear this thing because you know what? Like, hey, you gotta like me for what this is. This is us, and we do real estate. Okay,
That was I really like that, Raji. That's I feel like that's some like good inner work right there.
yeah,
That's
man.
gonna cause some big healing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For
just
real.
Brie, just don't drop us in a random field. Healing journey.
Yeah, no dropping. And you married someone very mischievous, so
I know. Yeah, it was like I was, I don't know. It's just
you're,
weird.
you're you're never gonna let go of any mischievousness with Rosie.
No, she's got it. This is like 99% of who she is.
Look at her. She's like,
It's like 99% mischievous and 1% serious.
I'm delusional 99% of the time. We can do anything. Actually, I don't know. I'm all of the things. When people say, okay, which type are you? I said, I'm all of these.
All the above.
All the
I'm curious though. I think a lot of what we're talking about is developing influence, and I didn't want to use any serious words on today's show, but uh, I was thinking of this concept of developing influence, and with ourselves, it's something that needs to be developed, right? So when that voice in our head comes on, we can speak to it, and it makes sense, and it's coherent, and we take our own advice, and we follow our gut. Like, how do you follow your gut if there's no influence there and you haven't developed that voice? And then how do we actually develop influence with our friends and family? And how can it be that what comes out of our mouth actually resonates with them? So I feel like it's something that we're constantly having to develop. And I would love to hear your takes on, like, how is that orchestrated for you in your mind and in your actions?
there comes a time when you are doing things at scale. It is very challenging to put on a performance, like Bree was talking about,
Yeah.
right? Like after 10 or 12 properties and spending that much intimate time with someone, if we're on performance, we're going to get tired. I always wondered, there were a few people in my life which I still come across, and I don't even know them, but just the way they carry themselves, they have this very silent confidence, but very eternal peace around them, that just being around them feels good, and they don't have like a point to prove at any time. They have this like grandpa kind of, grandma kind of subtle love around them,
Yeah.
and they're highly responsible. They're highly responsible, and they don't have abandon of anything. Like they carry everything with them. And whenever I meet those people, they're some of my great mentors. They're some of the great legends that I read about, or I watch them, how they behave, and I see how they carry themselves. And some of the people that even in business I come across, and I see how they carry themselves. I see their ups and downs too. I can see the tempo, how it changes for them. But they have this way to just come back home every time. And I was just asking myself yesterday, I was like, I was telling Roger, I was like, I don't know if I have the effort in me to move the needle for that. And then I asked myself, I was like, effort in me? It's not even physical work. It's all mental work. Then how do I not have the effort? It was because if it required a performance, then I don't have the effort for it.
Mhm.
But if it's not requiring a performance, then I have all the effort that's needed.
Mhm.
So I feel like I feel good now interacting with people, meeting strangers, because it gives me a perfect opportunity to take off that performance and really orbit around my function.
Mhm.
That really feels good. Like I'm very excited to meet this person tomorrow and his wife, and they are going through some trouble that I'm gonna fix it. But more than I understand what real estate is gonna do, I understand the strategies. I know exactly how to pivot them. That's not the problem. So I think sometimes not having the competence around something causes us to have performance. But once you have a competence, what's the next game to play? I think the next game to play is to really meet the person behind their performance. Can I take them out of their performance? Can they be relaxed and comfortable with me?
Mhm.
And I think that is an art. It's an art of life. Yesterday I read something really beautiful, and I kind of took it and made it on my own because I don't know who to credit to, but hey, somebody said it before me. They said, I don't want to make a living anymore. I want to make a life.
Oh man.
Mm. Yeah.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
Imagine working and doing things from that place. I don't want to make a living, but I want to make a life.
There's actually a picture I want to share with you guys. Let's see if I can find it. And it made me think of y'all.
It would be nice to have some women in there.
Well, I know.
That's so funny.
Nonetheless, I mean,
Me, Roger, and Bree in a previous lifetime. Just hanging around.
Thinking about thinking.
How did this thought arise?
That's awesome.
Good. Hey, so I first of all, it was very relaxing. I feel like sometimes we need this pullback moments to really release our brain, and I feel like we needed it today.
Yeah.
So today was. Anybody else have anything to say before I announce my famous timestamp?
No, I do. I do. I just wanted to say one thing real quick. I think it's all this in the name of creating more beautiful art. Like, in our friendships, in our relationships, in our work. Like, if I remember one day I was going into work and it was Memo Vargas, and I said, "Yep, just getting to work." And he said, "Work?" He said, "That's kind of boring. Why don't you call it Monopoly?" And I thought, Monopoly, man, that's way more fun. So, reframing things, and then, like you said, Rosie, there's people in our lives that walk into it and kind of demonstrate what it means to like have courage and to be present in the moment and all those things. And I'm just so grateful that I'm here with you, Bree, and we're getting to spend this time together and really getting to unwrap a lot of this. And so, I think also, like, I think it's just a beautiful experience. Like, how I would love to be in a car with you looking at homes, knowing that you're not thinking about any of those things. You're not performing with me, that you're being who you are. How refreshing is that? I can actually tell you what I really feel, what's really
I
on
think
my
she started orbiting like that with me long time ago.
huh? Yeah.
There is no bonding like two women mad about the same shit.
Yeah,
Seriously. Okay.
seriously.
It was the fastest way to get along. We both were mad about the same stuff. It was a perfect bonding. I was like, girl, I got you. She said, okay, good.
Yeah, she got me. I said, okay, good, I can relax.
I said, how can I tell you all my problems first?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, begin now. And she has done the same for me. She has really I just want to say thank you. Thank you. If in this journey of us three being together in over a decade, if we are becoming um, closer to that abandon, where we're like, okay, you know what? The way the things are, we don't control them, but let's just be the best of us.
But you just made me think of
My
something.
best is also performance. You just get to be you and abandon every other performance you have to. I want to create that space for you every day, for both of you. How about that?
I'm just so grateful because it sounds like anyone that walks into your world, they're gonna get to really just relax and let go of so much. You know.
You
Uh,
know, you
Except
have,
my husband.
you have messed up my time.
I don't know. Oh, I'm laughing a little extra on that one.
So today we delivered 43 seconds and 6 seconds. My timestamp is screwed up. Anyways, we'll keep talking until it's 43 seconds. How about that? Bree, say something
Something.
for 20 seconds. Go.
I love
19, 18.
Rosie, why did you start it then if you knew it wasn't going to happen? You could have just
I don't
waited.
know. He was talking something. I don't want to cut it off and be mad, be rude. Just say love you.
That's a trigger.
Just say a couple of times.
You have a trigger, but I still love you. And go.
Love you.
43 minutes and 43 seconds of high value conversation delivered today, guys. I get to do my thing again. This is Rosie, Roger, and Bree from Rivet Real Estate. We love having a conversation behind the scenes with you guys. So if we fall in love with each other here, I'm sure we will do something great together. And on that note, have a wonderful week ahead. Can't wait to see you next week. We will go be ourselves more. We'll abandon more nonsense out of our life. And come see us at Coffee Social at Easy Tiger at the link in Austin, Texas. Looking forward to being with you. Thank you.
Guys, take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.